Hello everybody and welcome back. Today we are going to continue with the JavaScript tutorials, and to be more specific we are going to have a look at the filter array method. So what is the filter array method? As every other higher order JavaScript function, filter allocates new memory, so it creates a new array and it loops through a given array and returns element of this array depending on one condition. So if you're coming from a non-JavaScript background, think that filter is a combination of a for loop with a nested if statement. Alright, I hope that doesn't sound super confusing. So now let's head over to the VS Code where I have prepared two questions for you guys. Sweet! So we have that we have that index.js file, and you can see at the beginning I have required our database. So for this tutorial the database is just that JSON file where I've got a users array and this is an array of objects, and I have included some fancy Harry Potter names here for you. Sweet! So what's the first question? So question 1 states that return an array of slithering users. So what we need to do is we are given with that users array and we need to return an array of only slithering users. My main idea for that is that's a perfect filter scenario. So what should we do? So we are going to create firstly our data structure, so that's gonna be just a new array. So let's say Slytherin, I messed up the house's name, Slytherin users. And what we need to do is we need to provide firstly the users array, and after that we need to call the filter function. And the filter receives as an input a callback function where I'm going here to use a flat arrow function, an anonymous function. And the arguments of that function are going to be the element, so the user, the index, and the referred array. However, for this example, I don't use the referred array, and I'm not going to use the index either, so I'm just leaving here one argument, which is the user. Alright, so here we need to return the condition. So if you remember before, I mentioned that filter loops over a given array and it returns element of this array depending on that condition. So the only thing that we need to do is just write the condition that we need. So because we need to return the slithering users, I'm going to say user dot house triple Slytherin. Sweet. And if we console log now the Slytherin users, I'm going to move to the terminal and do node index, and it's not returning anything. Of course, yep. We need to return. And as you can see here, the logged data structure is an array of objects, and here we've got only Slytherin users. Sweet. Question 1 is done now. Let's move to question 2. So question 2 states that we need to return an array of names. So as you can see here, only the string value. So we need to return, for example, Ronald, of only Gryffindor users. So what I can think here is to combine the filter function with the map function that we learned in the previous tutorial. And also because both of them are higher order functions, they are chainable functions. So we can just use the dot and execute one after the other. Okay, so how are we going to proceed? First, we need again to create a new data structure, which is going to be just an array. And I'm going to call it Gryffindor, not capital, let's follow camel case. So Gryffindor names. All right. So firstly here, what we will need is an array of objects, where each object is going to be a Gryffindor user. And because if you see above, we have achieved the same thing for Slytherin users, what we can do is we can create a function and encapsulate all the functionality, but I'm going to make it way more simple for you. I'm going to just copy these lines, paste them here, and I'm going just to replace the word Slytherin with the word Gryffindor. Sweet. And now what the Gryffindor names look like is an array of users, so an array of objects whose house is Gryffindor. Alright, so now we can call the map function, and do you remember what map receives as input? Just receives just a flat arrow function, a callback function. And here I'm going to call again a user, maybe let's call them Gryffindor user, flat arrow, so Gryffindor user, flat arrow, and in the brackets I'm going to return Gryffindor user dot name. Sweet. And you can see now, guys, that we have accomplished the chainable functionality of the higher order functions here. And let's try to log that data structure. Fingers crossed. Sweet. It returns an array of just two strings, Harry and Ronald. And if we have a look at our database, the only Gryffindor entries are the Harry Potter and the Ronald Weasley. Sweet. That's all, guys. If you like this video, give that a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do it. It will massively support my effort. Thank you very much. Catch you in the next one.